reminds me of a song I remember hearing on my U-Haul when I was driving up here to Minnesota when I moved here 15 years ago. Closer to Fine by Indigo Girls. I'm trying to tell you something about my life. Insight between black and white. Best thing you ever did for me is make me take life less seriously. It's only life after all. Yeah. Yeah, that's a song I know pretty well. There are a few others that are probably in that same category that you just know every time. Let's see. Yes, now for the regularly scheduled storytelling and jokes. Always things happen in my life. I get very easily annoyed when they have too many storm warnings on TV. That happened on Friday. I wanted to watch Fox 9 Plus because they had reruns of Big Bang Theory. Except they hijacked the sound and they just kept running the same storm warnings, and I just had enough. I went onto Facebook and said, please put the sound back on. Some of these storm warnings have already expired. And by the next show, Modern Family, the sound was back on. And I'd like to think I made a difference on them doing that, but I will never know. I mean, I felt that way ever since I was a kid. They don't have the right to ruin everybody's night just for storm warnings. Crawl across the bottom of the screen. They never did that when I lived in suburban Chicago. I think they knew that they'd have a lot of angry people there if they did that on TV. Just interrupt the entire show and then stay on for the longest time. But something about Iowa and Minnesota will do that. Go figure. Yes, I guess being a stodgy academic, that does explain why I like biopics, and I did see another one this weekend, Rocket Man, the one about Elton John. I've enjoyed musician biopics ever since I saw La Bamba when I was young. And the lasting impression on me was the scenes when his family was depicted, because those relationships were uneasy. It's like, yeah, that's relatable. I've been there. And then I'm the type that will, once a week, talk about what I'm doing on Twitter. I only usually post that often on Twitter. And then I put the hashtag up, and then I like reading who will talk about it after me. And then it was priceless, one of the things that I saw there. Somebody said they wanted to hug Elton John after seeing that movie. And it's like, yeah, were you paying attention to the movie? He no longer goes on concert tours, so I don't think that's likely that you're going to meet him unless you go over to Great Britain. Some people are weird. Sometimes I am considered to be one of those weirdos. I'll get back to that eventually, I'm sure. I went to an alumni outing as well. It was at a Twins baseball game, and weirdos there too. There was somebody there that knew I was a comic from a previous event, and then I spoke about some of my exploits from internet dating. He said, well, at least it's good comedy material. That is not why I was internet dating. I actually wanted to meet somebody decent, but I never did. I don't believe in stunts to get comedy material. And then I ended up sitting next to him during the game, and he tried to school me on the meaning of a certain word. I used the term acronym. He said, you're not using it correctly. An acronym is when you have an abbreviation that becomes a new word like NASA, and it's like, all right, I just didn't know how to respond to that, but when I got home, I looked it up, and my meaning can be just as correct as his meaning, where abbreviations are now considered acronyms. It doesn't have to be exactly his meaning. He had a smartphone with him tracking pitches during the damn game. You'd think that he would have wanted to prove me wrong by looking up the definition of a word, but he never did. Annoying man number 2 was an older man. He actually thought it was funny to see a rain delay on the out-of-town scoreboard. That just never made sense to me. He couldn't explain that one well enough to me. And he also does one thing that older people will do that will annoy me. Talk about things that happened before I was born. Like the name of the baseball team in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. When did they have that name? In the 60s? I wasn't born yet! are you aware of how old you are when you talk about things that far in the past? And then they're now called the Colonels. And I said, yes, I'm familiar with how they went with corn kernels, not military colonel. Two different spellings. And he said, Colonel with a K. I already said corn kernels. He obviously wasn't paying attention to me. Oh,
yes.
And the beat goes on. I know in one of my sets recently, somebody wanted to ask me how I felt about the comeback of Undertaker, the pro wrestler. Not a good time. That still isn't the one that takes the cake in terms of the weirdest things that happened during my set, though. But it comes pretty close, that I will have to admit. Oh yes, back to the weirdos. Karaoke. I was doing a rap song. I was doing karaoke this weekend. It was Jump Around by House of Pain. And somebody actually wanted to come up during the time I was singing and said, "You're not jumping around." Well, you aren't either, dude. I mean, I've seen that played at college football games. A lot of people jump around in it, and it's not just the person playing the song. Come on. Have some intelligence here. Well, I guess that'll do it for me. Thank you, you've all been great.
Yeah.